Hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Sorry. I will start my waffle again. We have got lower body focused and a little bit of core, Bodyweight Heroes, making sure that your environment is set up. I said all of this so perfectly, which I'd never do, and then no one could hear me, which is just like, it's just so on brand, it actually hurts. Making sure that your environment is nice and safe, nothing to trip over. We have got some overhead reaching, so making sure that you are not directly under some lovely low hanging lights that you might be punching, and making sure that you are adjusting things for your body. So just because a side lunge or a reach looks a certain way on me does not mean that that has to look a certain way on you, and that you are counting feelings over the reps. So slowing things down, really dialing it back if you'd like to do slightly less, or you're always welcome to speed things up if you'd like to get in slightly more reps than me. Both are absolutely fine. But we will get started. I have got my gym bunny slippers on because it is that time of year. They also just mean that I can grip the floor really well. So that's another thing, because we're going to be in like a side lunge. What was happening when I was just wearing my socks is that my feet were sort of sliding away from each other. So that might be quite a good chance for you to now just make sure that whatever floor you're using and whatever is on your feet is going to help you stay where your feet land and not go sliding around. So we're going to start with a sort of reach check-in. So just a chance for you to breathe everything through and just check into different parts of your body and see what is going on for you today. And that is also going to help you just sort of adjust any workout, because if you go, oh, shoulders feeling a bit tight and sore, then that gives you a chance to just keep an eye on that, or again, like dial down those movements that involve any overhead reaching, and then you're just aware of those things. So feet about hip width apart, and I'm just standing side on, because what I want you to really focus on is pushing those hips back as you reach towards your toes, and making sure that if somebody was behind you, they're going to get an eyeful of butthole. That's what I really need from you right now. Knees can be soft or they can be straight. That's like a personal preference. So as long as they're not bent too much, because then we'd be doing a squat. And we don't want to do a squat. We want to reach to the toes, using the length of the calves and the hamstrings and the glutes to get there. And then just breathe out. And then to come back up, we're going to drive those hips forward and hide the butthole. And that is how we're going to do our reach. And again, just that reminder that we've all got different mobility, skill levels and experiences with different movements. So your reach might look really different to mine, and that is okay. Don't need to worry about that. And again, driving those hips forward to stand up. So it's like we're using our top half and our bottom half as like two separate bits almost. So another reach down towards the toes. And then this time we're just going to let the hands travel to the outside of the right foot. You don't have to do disco fingers like I do. It's just so that I can get to the attention of your eyes. And then we can travel all the way around to the outside of the left foot. And then back to the middle. And then snap those hips up again. So that is our first sort of movement pattern, is bending at the hips and doing a reach. And then our second movement pattern is going to be in a side lunge, trying to get the inner thigh to do some things that it doesn't normally do. And we're going to start that off by just doing some side lunges. So knee bends on that stepping leg, this one nice and straight. And you can use your hips to drive that stretch here even more. So as you lean into that leg, just taking hips with you. And what we'll do is we'll do alternating sides just as we warm things up. And again, just taking those hips with you as you bend through that leg. Oh, I've noticed that that one is way tighter than the other. This one actually doesn't feel too bad. Just got a nice pop in my hip there. A little joint fart. Lovely stuff. Oh yeah, that one just feels a bit angry. So that just gives me some feedback that as I'm doing these movements, just maybe need to be less aggressive with that side. Maybe I won't drive from the hips as much. So because I'm feeling a stretch already, I don't need to also wang my hips over to the side to increase it because it's already feeling it enough. Oh, we've got a late joiner. Let's let them in. Oh, I hope they haven't been waiting for ages. Okay, we're doing some side lunges. Oh, they're not in yet. Still joining. And remember that feeling of tightness in the muscles. Carly, we're just doing some side lunges as part of a warm-up. We were a little bit late to start because I had the wrong microphone plugged in, so you haven't really missed a lot. So just a reminder that tightness you can feel in any muscle is it's unique to you, and it is more of a feeling of lots of different things, lots of different feedback for that your body is interpreting, and not necessarily something that somebody else can tell you about. Lovely. I'm going to grab my coffee. I was so rogue, I made a second coffee. And it's not even 10 o'clock yet. Okay, so going back to our bend at the hips, we're going to take a big step forward and we're going to do that same reach. And then when we're here and we can sort of maybe feel things going down the back of the leg, if you can't feel them, it doesn't mean that they're not happening. It's just some people feel it, some people don't. But those muscles, they have to be doing something because of the position that we're in. We're going to reach down to the toes and then you're going to scoop it up so that your chest lifts with it, and then you're going to step it back. So it's almost like you're casting some sort of spell forward and then you're drawing it back in, like all that energy. And then we're going to swap sides. So taking a big step, reach towards the toes, take it up, out, like pow, all that power. It's almost like, I mean, if you've read Fourth Wing, if we're channeling power from the earth, and then using it against the good people, and then we're drawing it back into ourselves. Trying not to fall over your air conditioning unit, because that would be terrible. That is our first movement. So big step, joining in when you're ready, reach down, take it out, and draw it back in. Energy from the earth, cast it to your enemy, bring it back in, and keep going with that. Reach, reach, and back. So we're asking the hamstring to do a lot for us. And again, if that step, I mean, I'm stepping really far. You don't actually have to step that far if you don't want to. You can bring it in a little bit. Sorry, I was just being a little bit dramatic. Any step will work. Make sure you're breathing. One more each side. Lovely stuff. Have a rest. It's amazing how things heat up when you're using your whole body. So back to our side lunge, we're going to incorporate that overhead reach. So if my right leg is stepping out, I'm going to be reaching with my left hand over towards my right leg, and it looks like this. I'm going to get both my hands ready because again, we'll swap sides each time. So we can do a bit of both. Stepping out with the right leg, and again, if you need to, drive with them hips, and then left hand reaches over, pull it back in and come back to the middle, and then switch sides. Left leg steps out, right hand reaches over the top of the head, bring it back in and come back. And each time just remembering to breathe, almost like you were pouring some water out of the ear. I know that I say that all the time, but it is the best cue for this kind of like lean and reach. breathe. Just trying to lean into that knee as much as you can. One more each side. Lovely stuff. And relax. Helps me more if we can like alternate sides, because then I don't have to remember how many we did on the right and the left. Oh, have a little sip of something. So we're going back towards our step and reach. And we're going to get the core more involved in that movement. So here's what it looks like. This is my right leg stepping forward. I'm reaching down towards my toes and then up and out. And then I'm just going to turn my body to have a little look of you all. So this is my right leg and I'm turning towards the right just to get a little look at you all. It's going to make my glute work a bit harder. It's going to get some rotation into the spine. And then when I'm ready, I'm just going to suck all that back in to that starting position. And this is what it looks like on the left. So stepping, reach, reach. Have a little look through your arms and then draw it all back in. This can feel a bit wobbly in that twist, so not as wide stance. If you want it to feel a little bit more stable, step shorter but also wider. So here, because then we've got a wider base of support in which to balance, okay? So not just a shorter step, but a wider one. And then that should help, hopefully make it feel less wobbly or less, because as soon as you twist, that's when it just throws your balance off a little bit because your hips have got to go a different way. That's what we're doing to the movement. So stepping forward, reaching down, drawing that energy from the earth, blast it at your enemy. And then maybe that energy is so strong that it's hard to hold. So you've just got to twist and go, ah, and then bring it back in. And breathe. Channel that energy from the earth. Fire it at your enemy. I'd love someone to edit a video one day of like powers actually going into and out of my hands as I do these things. I mean, I could probably do it myself, but it would be not a very good use of my very limited time to do those things. Oh, now I've said it, I've got to do it, haven't I? Oh. Have a little peek through the hands. Draw it back in. To be fair, I've still got very low level glute DOMs from Monday's core class. So I'm like super aware of the glutes right now. We're going to do one more each side. Breathing. Breathing, please. And bring it in and rest. If you've been holding on to a breath, because that was quite a lot of things to concentrate on, just let it out, please. And have a sip of something. So for our side lunge, we're going to add in some ground force. So that is a movement of one of the feet, which is then going to make our reach just seem, it's going to make it different. It's going to make the core and all that leg that is bent work harder than it was previously. I'm actually sweating a little bit, which I say all the time with like absolute surprise. Like I'm moving my body in quite an intense way, and yet I'm surprised that I'm getting warm. Of course we are. Of course we're getting warm. Okay, here's what it looks like. I'm going to get my two reachy hands ready because we're going to swap the hands with the move of the foot. So this is my right leg stepping out. My left hand is reaching over, and then I'm going to lift my leg and take it back as I switch my hands, and then forward again. So this, I'm going to show you from the side. So this leg, here's my reach, it's going back as I switch arms and forward again as I come forward. So we're just getting that little bit of ground force into the movement, which is good for our bones and our bone health, because impact is what stimulates the bones. And it doesn't have to be a big, like, raw, like a stomp. It can just be like a quick slide. You're still going to get the same effect. If you're ready, if you've been doing these sort of like switcheroo feet for a while with me, if you want to make it stompy and really give your bones like a waking up, then you can make it stompy and aggressive. But if you're new to this, impacts, you know, you're not really sure, you can just slide it back and slide it forward with the feet barely barely leaving the ground. Both are good. So pick which one you're going to do, and we will alternate sides again. So stepping out, side lunge. Don't forget those hips. So if we want a little bit more in this inner thigh, go for our reach, and then foot goes back, switch arms, and forward, switch arms again. And again, it reminds me a bit of like some sort of Marvel film where we're sort of, you know, fighting with force fields as we go. It's making me very, very hot. Reach, switch arms, switch them back. Get into that side lunge, reach, foot back, foot forward. Whew. We're also just asking that quad on that bent leg just to work in a slightly different way, because all of those muscles have to decelerate as we land, and with lots of different movements going on, the core is getting involved in such a different way. You can do this with like 1 kg or 2 kg dumbbells, but I tell you now, oh my God, it sucks so bad. So that is your warning. I know someone's going to try it. Maybe we'll do it in Give Me Core tomorrow, just so you can see how adding that, I mean, I already can feel it everywhere, but adding in that little bit of extra load in the hands is sort of, you know, absolutely savage. Last one. Excellent. Also, all of those papers that I read about sort of perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, it was all about getting the cross extensors of the hips to work in a way where they sort of cross over and stretch. So side lunge is brilliant for that in all of its sort of forms. We've got one movement left. Let me just check the time. I know that I sort of okay, we have got time. I sort of wasted 5 minutes at the start because no one could hear me. Classic. We're just going to do our other movement again. We're going to add in a balance. And again, a balance is really good for improving your skill and confidence when it comes to, you know, falls, trips, that sort of thing. Because if we can get one leg skilled and we slip or go to fall, we then are more likely to be able to catch ourselves in a way that prevents us getting hurt. Quick sip of the coffee. So you don't have to add in the balance. You could just practice that skill. But this is what it looks like with a balance. And there's just 2 ways to do the balance as well. So you can pick whichever one tickles your fancy. Step forward, reach towards the ground. Reach out at chest height. Turn that head and then weight in the front foot and lift that back leg up. Like that. And then bring it back in. If you want to, just that shift, so we're in this position, just that shift of weight into that front leg is enough to get that extra stimulus here and get this leg all working with its balance. So you can just have the weight in the front leg and that toe down at the back just for some extra support, And then if you want to, you can just lift it off and then draw it all back in. I mean, already my glute and thigh is like, we're working too hard. We're just going to do 3 on each side, just so you can really focus on that skill of bringing that weight forward into that front leg and trying to hold that position. And again, taking a wider step to make it feel more secure. You could even lose a hand to hold on to something as well. So if you've got a wall or a countertop nearby, you could just, my hands are so weird. You could just place a hand for some support on a nearby object. But 3 on each side, stepping out, reach down, forward, take a little peek, shift weight onto front leg and balance if you can. Draw it all back in, breathe, other side, and you will be humbled by one side more than the other because one of our legs likes to balance more than the other one. One of our legs is already more skilled at balancing than the other, and that is just how the body is. Breathe. Take your time with the skill. You don't need to rush. Pull that weight onto the front leg. Bring it all in. Last one each side. I just had a bead of sweat run down my bra. It's probably a TMI, but here we are. Here we are. I don't think TMI exists in the snack pass, to be honest. And draw it all back in. Oh my goodness. That is time. Sorry it ran over a little bit. Whew. Wow. That was a lot for the body. Make sure that you do cool down in whatever way suits you. A few breaths, favourite stretch. I'm going to have some floor time. I'm going to stare at the ceiling. It's my favourite way to end a class. So have a really good day, everybody. Sorry about the little glitches at the start. And I will speak to you all soon about classes coming for next week. Okay, love you, bye.